Hi Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I am going to be doing your March 16th to the 31st, 2021 reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and also to subscribe to my channel. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload new videos, and I upload all the time, just hit the bell notification button. And if you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will be listed and linked in the description box below. Now, before we begin this reading and clear the energy space, once again, a reminder not to be scammed by anybody in the comment box pretending to be me offering you a reading. This person is not me. They are a scammer. Do not be scammed. I will not be soliciting you for anything. With that said, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself become calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. Now let's let the bowl sing as we see what the tarot has to say. Sagittarius, March 16th to the 31st, 2021, Sagittarius. March 16th to the 31st, 2021, Sagittarius. March 16th to the 31st, 2021, Sagittarius. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Fantastic. Let's see what your chakra energy is for this time. Gemini. March 16th, Sagittarius, sorry about that. Sagittarius. March 16th to the 31st, 2021, Sagittarius. March 16th to the 31st, 2021, Sagittarius. March 16th to the 31st, 2021, Sagittarius. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels. And then the energy we need to be mindful of during this time. What is the energy that Sagittarius needs to be mindful of? March 16th to the 31st, 2021, Sagittarius. What is the energy that Sagittarius needs to be mindful of? March 16th to the 31st, 2021, Sagittarius. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Ooh, okay. So these three just fell right out. All right, so let's start off with your chakra energy. We have clarity, which is the third eye chakra. And then we have creativity, which is the sacral chakra. So we're going to see how this correlates to the tarot. Now these cards, I'm going to show you just the back for a moment and take a moment to talk about these cards. It's a child's face here and a child's face here. And you'll be able to see the front of the cards in just a moment. But these are called the Stolen Child deck. and they're based off of a Yeats poem, which is an absolutely beautiful poem. And they're made by a Texas artist. So if you want to support her after all that Texas has been through, just click on the link in the description box below. They are absolutely beautiful cards, and they come so nicely. So the left-hand side is the inner self. The middle is the heart, the emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So let's see what the cards have to say. We have the Four of Swords. The King of Oak, which is Earth sign energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. We have the Nine of Swords, and we have the Knight of Swords, air sign energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. So this is why I said Gemini before, so that makes perfect sense. The Wheel of Fortune, the Ace of Oak, which is a gift that we are absolutely taking during this time. Strength, which is Leo energy. Time frame is July 23rd to August 22nd. We have the Seven of Swords, the Five of Pentacles, the Chariot, which is Cancer energy. Time frame June 21st to July 22nd. We have the Hanged Man, and we have the Emperor, which is Aries energy, March 21st to April 19th. So let's look at the energy we have to be mindful of. We have the Chariot, which is Sagittarius energy, the Lord, which is Aries energy, and the King of Cups, which is water sign energy, Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer. So we have Chariot right here. So because Sagittarius, we're talking about you, and your card came up for the major arcana, it can be that you're connecting with somebody who are going to run into somebody who you very much want to get on with, or is you see a lot of you in them, but in a not so good way, okay, so Spirit's saying just like step back a minute, because what it is that you can see a lot of yourself, yes, in them, and you're going to be looking at things and thinking, well, shouldn't we get on, or shouldn't things be better between us? But they have a very negative Sagittarius energy to them. So when people are negatively in Sagittarius, they can be, searching out just the answers that they want to find to questions, like not sitting there and looking at different points of view, different arguments, different, concepts, kind of comparing and contrasting and building the mind, but just saying, no, this is what I want to be, and this is the only information I will listen to. And there's a sense of not letting the group speak, which is very anti-Sagittarius with them. So just be very mindful of this. This can also be that you yourself during this time will get in your own way. And that can be very much the case because there's so much that we want to move forward in. There's so much creativity and passion and beauty around us that we can actually get just sideswiped by something unexpected. And because we're seeking so much for the prosperity, for truth, for understanding, that when the negativity comes in, it's like, oh my gosh, I just wasn't expecting it. And it can knock us just completely off path. So just be very, very mindful of this. The Lord is Aries energy. You have a very positive Aries energy in the public arena. You have a negative Aries energy right here. So this is a sense of somebody being very controlling, very like, it has to be my way. It has to be just like this. If you don't see it this way, you're obviously wrong. And that's going to be something at Sagittarius that always goes against your nature. You like discovering, you like questions, you like deeper realizations about things. It doesn't have to be one way or the other. And so with it being the one way or the other here, my way or the highway type of deal, this isn't going to jive well with you at all. So do be mindful of that. And then it leads us to the King of Cups. This is water sign energy, Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer. Remember, we're looking at energies here, so it doesn't have to just be Sagittarius and Aries and water signs. This is whomever, embraces this energy. And with the Chariot card, with the Temperance card here, it is going to be a person that we're going to be very drawn to during this time. And it could be negatively or positively. It could be a person that we're drawn to because it's like, what the heck? Can't you see that this person is a liar? Like, can't you see that they're just defaming things? Like, why is everybody listening type of deal? And with the Lord, it's just going to be that domineering person that is like, this is the only truth. This is the only way forward. If you disagree with me, you'll pay. And then the King of Cups is the negative King of Cups is the person who doesn't realize that the only person that we rule is ourselves. They want to rule everybody else. And they have a very loud bark. Okay, and it can be that their bark is worse than their bite, but I'm actually seeing here that both are pretty bad. So I laugh because it's like, ooh, that's not nice at all. And they're just like a giant child. It's like a person who's never had to grow up, or who's grown up being very cunning and manipulative. So do be mindful of that. Okay, just be very mindful, because this person is going to want to kind of take you to the cleaners type of deal. So we're starting off with clarity. Now, the best thing about this is that we start off with the third eye chakra. So your third eye is opening. You're seeing things so much more clearly than you have before. And so here with the third eye chakra opening up, it's like I'm seeing the doubts, the fears, the chaos that is around me, but I'm also seeing my truth. And I know when people say my truth, we don't want it to be like, oh, well, my truth is the only truth that matters. It's saying, but this is what's right for me. So it's kind of like being afraid of heights, right? That's part of my truth. I don't like heights. There's something that's something I'm trying to conquer. But for other people, it's perfectly fine. So it's part of my story. It's part of my narrative. And what we're seeing here with the clarity, it's like we're seeing things becoming more clear to us. We're looking at our faults, and we're looking at our blessings. We're looking at what we want, what we desire, but we're also looking at the world and saying, you know what? At times, some things just don't add up. And this isn't the way forward that it should be. And it's bringing clarity to the way that we want to move ourselves towards what is more. And then it brings us to creativity. Now, this is the sacral chakra. The sacral chakra holds a lot of negativity from this life and from past lives. So this infects us. It does. And it affects us in a way that it keeps us from being as creative as we want to be, from, expressing our creative selves. No matter if we're scientifically inclined or artistically inclined, there's a level of creativity that helps to open up doors. Now, here with the creative aspect of the sacral chakra, it's having to let that creative energy come out, especially when we are afraid to let it shine. So what happens is that we think, oh my gosh, I can't do this. Like, oh my gosh, my ideas aren't worth voicing, or only when I get it perfect will I let it step out into the open. And here's the thing, perfection doesn't exist. It's an unrealistic expectation that we hold ourselves to that will always kind of hit us down. So here with creativity, it's looking at our creative aspects. It's looking at what it is that we desire. It's looking at what it is that we want. And it's opening up a door to letting that move forward through the pains and the hurts of the life that we've lived, from our generational, kind of pains and sufferings that we've inherited, and from our past life self. So here, when the creativity starts to come, our first instinct is going to think, oh no, I can't do this. Because we start off here with the Four of Swords. And the Four of Swords is looking at all the pain and all the suffering that we have been through, all the hurt and all the disappointment. And the first thing that we think is, my gosh, why have I had to go through this? Why have I had to be pulled through, the mud like this? But what the Four of Swords is also showing us is how far we've come, how much we've been through, how much we've overcome, the fears and the doubts and the hurts and the pains that could have broken us at any time, but haven't. And instead of getting mad, because I don't know if you're like me, when you look back at the injustice of it all, you'll find yourself getting mad, or you'll find yourself getting sad. But what it is here is to say, when we look back, it's to give honor. Honor to the hard roads we've walked. Honor to the heartbreaks we've had. Honor to the disappointments and the fears and the angers and the upsets. Honors to making it this far. And protecting something valuable. You see the little babies inside the eggs. It's protecting that valuable dream. And not letting the monsters take it away. And looking at ourselves not as somebody who is weak and helpless, but as somebody who is growing into magnificence. And that leads us to the King of Pentacles, to a very prosperous, powerful person, to a person who looks at things in a very open and honest way, and who practically, in a very practical way, wants to see the bounty moving forward. They want to see the interconnectedness coming. So here with us, what we are seeing is we're seeing that that interconnectedness. We're seeing the nurturing of the seeds that we've planted, the nurturing of what it is that we desire, the nurturing of where it is that we want to be. And we're seeing ourselves have this interconnectedness to life, how one thing affects the other, affects the other, affects the other, and moves us forward in this powerful, determined, focused strength that is really quite extraordinary. The King of Pentacles is nobody's fool. And that's one of the things inwardly that we're looking at. We're looking at being nobody's fool. And what's really interesting is that what comes next is the Nine of Swords, right? The Nine of Swords is that scared rabbit, which we have ourselves defeating right here with the Knight of Swords. And that can seem mean and cruel until you realize that the owl has to eat too, right? So here with the King of Pentacles, there's a prosperity that we're looking towards, but we're afraid. Like, what if we get what we dream of? Does our next thought go, when does it all fall apart? When do I get to lose it all? When is it that I reach the crescendo? Where is it that I, reach that point and then I just don't get to succeed anymore? It's just like I'm stuck, I'm stagnant. And if we have these thoughts, a lot of times divinity will make us live them, which I think is rude, but it's also very, very important, because divinity makes us live our doubts and our fears and our chaos, because divinity is showing us that we're really much more prosperous, much more bountiful, and much more tenacious than we had thought. So the King of Pentacles has this prosperity that is guiding us, has this, determination. We're looking at the different seeds that we have planted within our life. We're looking at the garden that we have. We're looking at what we've tended to and what we've let just be completely overgrown. And it leads us to our fears. What are we afraid of? Are we afraid of reliving the devastations? Are we afraid of success? Are we afraid of failure? I know people say, Dayton, how can you be afraid of success? Well, if you worked your whole life towards one goal and you achieve it, and it's taken a lifetime, well, then what the heck are you supposed to do next? How are you supposed to top that? There are questions. There are fears that every single person has. And we're not supposed to name them. We're not supposed to say, oh my gosh, what do I do then? We're always supposed to just keep pushing forward, keep wanting more and more and more. The fears that we have, the nightmares that keep us held back, it's time to face them down, because we're the only ones that can own our prosperity. Nobody else can do it for us. You see those people who are carried throughout life, and then something happens and you can't be carried anymore, or you rebel against being carried, and then the hardship comes in. And it's like, wow, I didn't realize that I was being protected that way. We see people like that, the people who have just everything handed to them and always complain. You look at them and you're like, what the heck is wrong with you? Here with the Nine of Swords, the Nine of Swords is saying, look at the fear, look at the doubt, look at the chaos that's within. Name it and claim it. Because when we claim our fears, we start having power over ourselves. And that's so important, especially for Sagittarius. Especially for you guys. It is so important to name it, to claim it, to see it, to kind of define it out. My rising is in Sagittarius, so it's a very powerful drive to be able to name things, to be able to see things, to be able to look at things. Think of it as an abstraction if we have to. What is the chaos that is around us? How do we name it? Is it our father's voice? Is it our mother's voice? Is it, our teacher's voice? It doesn't matter from how long ago it is. But also, does it have a color? If we can't give it a face, does it have a color? Is it, gray? Is it just absent of all things? Is it, pink or blue or white or black or whatever? Like, what color is it? What does it show up in the mind? Is it red for anger? Is it blue for expanse? Like, what is it? And then start to boil it down more and more and more, because we have here the defeat of fears. It's not that we defeat them. It's that we name them, we own them. And then what was our terror becomes our greatest ally, becomes the person or the abstraction that stands behind us and says, I conquered that. I conquered that fear. I faced that fear. I'm a little bit stronger. I'm a little bit braver today than I was yesterday. And that becomes extraordinary. So the Knight of Swords, right? The Knight of Swords is one of my favorite knight cards, because I always see him and he's always shown to me as Prince Charming in Sleeping Beauty, which I think is hysterical because it was never my favorite Disney movie. But he comes in, right? And he slays the dragon. He cuts through the brambles. He ascends the tower. Well, he slays the dragon. The dragon is an allegory for what hoards away our most treasured possessions, what hoards away our creativity, our clarity, our insight, our prosperity. Because what the heck does a dragon, a flying serpent, need with gold and jewels and maidens and villages? Like, why? It's to terrorize what we most love. We cut through the brambles. We cut through the thorns of the beauty of the world that become poisonous. We ascend. Well, we raise our energy vibration because we're moving towards blessings and prosperity and bounties and beauties and truths and glorious understandings. We ascend, we awaken the princess, we awaken the sacred feminine within us, we awaken the part of us that needs to be seen, that needs to be heard. Or it can be that the sacred masculine, aspect of the princess awakens her and she saves herself. We have all these different ways of looking at the story where naivety and determination come together. And so we slay what was the fear that was holding us back. That rabbit that cowered at everything. The fear in our lives that cower at everything. It's like, no, I get to be, in my inner self, I get to be the hero of my tale. I get to, embrace my prosperity and look not at what we have been through that has been heartbreaking and disappointment and devastation and, not being able to kind of figure out why. Not as a curse, but as a weird sort of blessing that is preparing us for more. It leads us then to the Wheel of Fortune. In our hearts, we know a new season is coming. And there's beauty to each season, even though we always want it to be a summer. We always want it to be warm and sitting out in the sun and just being happy. Yes, that's great. But even winter, with its darkness and with its snow and its ice and its cold, it has its beauty to it. And so here, with the Wheel of Fortune, with looking at things so differently, we're starting to see blessings move us. We're starting to see things changing. We're starting to be ready for it. And our hearts feel like they're on a roller coaster ride. We'll have these highs and these lows and these questionings and these doubts and these jubilations and these rejoicings. And it's like, whoa, I didn't expect it. And then it brings us to the Ace of Pentacles. It brings us to a gift that doesn't seem like a gift, right? The Ace of Pentacles is a gift within the earth. And we have the bones here, which decay, and the everything decays and goes back into the earth. And that's what we're seeing as the beautiful gift to fertilize the soil, to bring us our truth, to have us look at our prosperity in a very different light. And so the Ace of Pentacles is God's source spirit, however we see the divine, the universe, handing us a gift that connects us more deeply with ourselves, with what we want, with the prosperity that we're looking for within our lives. And it brings us to strength. It brings us to a fierceness of spirit. It brings us to strength through kindness. It brings us to determination. But it's not only strength through kindness, because I've been thinking about this a lot lately, about what strength is, about what power is, about what prosperity is. And when it says strength through kindness, so many of us, so much of the world, maybe not many of us, because all who gather here are quite unique individuals and part of a family that doesn't want to be just like everybody else. We're seeking something more, a deeper connection to the universe, to the world, to what we desire, to what we need. And here with the Strength card, we're realizing that there is tremendous strength in still being a kind person with all that the world puts us through. There's tremendous strength with still being able to have an open heart when the world makes us question everything. The strength comes not through demanding, which is what we're going to be kind of, balking against during this time, but it comes through understanding. It comes through looking at each person, valuing the individual, and seeing the power that is in front of us. The strength that we're calling upon is the strength that leads us, that guides us, that protects us. And it brings us to the Seven of Swords. It brings us to gathering up the information that we need, gathering up what it is that we desire and leaving the rest because we can't carry it. There's so much that we're taking with us here. And there's such a powerful way forward. But if we weigh ourselves down with thoughts and fears and doubts, we'll never get to where it is that we want to be. The Seven of Swords, yes, people might sit there and say, I don't see what you're getting at, Sagittarius. You're being a bit sneaky. Well, you're not being a bit sneaky. It's not everybody's business. I know this is a world where everybody posts everything on, every single breakfast that they eat and, lunch that they have, but that's silliness. This is saying, this is who I am. And I need time to work it out. And I'm not going to share it with everybody because I'm still figuring it out. So let them say what they want to say. There isn't a sneakiness to your heart. There is a determination to your heart to move forward towards blessings. And it brings us to the Five of Pentacles. It brings us to feeling on the outside of wealth. And that's just not the case anymore. We're not meant to have the poverty mentality be with us our whole entire lives. Though people live in this so easily. It's the defeat, it's the hardship, it's the pain, it's the disappointment, it's the I don't get to have a new season. I don't get to embrace a new, powerful, beautiful truth. That's not for me. This is being able to see the richness that is before us, the beauty that is around us. And not saying, oh, I can't have that. I can't have the honey. I can't have the sweetness in my life. It's saying, oh, yes, I can. And I am. I'm walking through that door. I'm embracing that blessing. And I'm not letting anything stand in my way. We've had enough. In the public arena, we've simply had enough of the poverty mentality, of other people, seeming to make a fortune off of nothing. And then for us to be endlessly struggling, well, that's not right. That's not right at all. There's a sense of a recalibration of what we're looking at and what we want. And it's not saying that we have to have, the coffers overflowing. The bank account has to be so lush that we don't know what to do with it. That would be really nice. But it's saying that I get to move towards success and prosperity and bounty. And there gets to be a brilliance in my life. And there's no longer this being denied and standing out in the cold and feeling like nothing is my reality. Whew, that got me worked up. And then it leads us to the Chariot. It leads us to moving forward towards our dreams, to seeing that what we desire, what we want, the passion, the purpose, the fire that we have is worth it. The Chariot is being pulled by the self that we let everybody see, but also by the shadowed self, by the self that, we question and we look at and we think, wow, that way leads to monsters. That's not the side of me that I want everybody to know. I only want people to know the kindness, the beauty, the happiness. But it's the darker moments. It's the despair. It's the depression. It's the hurts and the pains. And it's also the realization that within every human being lies a monster. And it doesn't mean that we win if we can't think of what it would be like to be that monster. It means that we win when we look at our world and we look at ourselves and we say, I can be a monster, but I'm not going to be. There's something more beautiful within me than destruction. But there's knowledge from that destruction. And the Chariot moves us forward. And we think of chariots and we think, oh, okay, that's nice. Not as good as cars, right? But in the ancient world, chariots were used by pharaohs, by kings, by queens, by emperors, by empresses. Chariots were power. Chariots took skill and time and effort. To lead our hearts, to guide our souls, skill and time and effort is needed. We're utilizing it here. We're not settling. And because we're not settling, we're seeing things so differently than before. And the Hangman, it's like we're going to think we're wrong because it's not seeing things like everybody else. And the first instinct is, wow, I've made a mistake. But what it should be is, am I coming from this from a logical standpoint? Have I put in the time and the effort? Have I kind of sifted through it? Am I thinking about it clearly? If the answer is yes, it's like, okay, well then why am I seeing something different than everybody else? Do I want to see what everybody else is seeing? Do I admire what they're seeing? Or am I questioning myself because it takes courage to walk this path, to stand with individualized convictions so powerfully, so openly, so honestly. The hanged man is not being like everybody else. It can't even be the world putting you in this impossible position and you're like, what do I do here? How do I do this? We look at things differently now. And we may never look at things the same because of it. But it doesn't mean that we're wrong. It means that we have a very different perspective. And it brings us to the Emperor. And it's so funny because we're crowned with doubt and fear and poverty and heartbreak and disappointment. We're rooted in success and prosperity and claiming a throne. So it's kind of like we start off thinking, I can't do this. I can't move forward the way that I want to move forward. I can't be the person that I want to be. It's like a hair's breadth away from giving up. And then we start to change the game. We start to see things differently. And it brings us to the Emperor. It brings us to this place of power. The Emperor claims the throne. And the coolest thing about this card, you have the baby with the Papa Bear. And why people always say, a mama bear, when protectiveness over the young, is because the daddy bear doesn't stay around. He eats the young. That's just what he does. So here, to have that daddy bear around, to have that, Papa Bear protection, that's a huge thing. And to stand in this power, to say, this is the sacred masculine energy protecting me, helping me move forward, helping me stand in my conviction, knowing what it is that I want, knowing what it is that I desire. I'm claiming my throne. Why? Not because I think that I'm the perfect person for the job, because I know all my flaws, because I want no one else to rule over me. There is a power, there is a purpose, there is a dedication to us during this time here, Sagittarius. And it's like, this is my life. This is my truth. This is what I desire. And I get to move forward in it. I get to break things down to, edible pieces, to doable pieces, and say, this is how I get to live my life. This is what I get to go for. This is what I desire. I claim that power. I claim that purpose. And it's within the public arena. It's like there's a shift. And people will comment on it, Sagittarius. They'll be like, wow, what's different about you? Like, the way you hold yourself will be different. The power to your voice, the conviction that you have, it's like you're not playing a game anymore. So let's see your spirit animal message. Sagittarius, March 16th to the 31st, 2021, Sagittarius. March 16th to the 31st, 2021, Sagittarius. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Fantastic. And we have here the porcupine spirit, this and that. No, it says time for a beginner's mind, which I always thought was poorly written. But it's a Buddhist concept. It's to have the beginner's mind. It's to have the child's mind, to look at things with new eyes. It's time to take away our preconceived notions and look at things anew. It brings us then to the wolf spirit, turning knowledge into wisdom. Knowledge is what we accumulate over time. Wisdom is when we take that knowledge and we make it the path of wisdom, the truth that we live by. It becomes our wisdom. It becomes our sacredness. It becomes our greater understanding. And it's like, oh, I see it. I see the power forward. I see the greater insight. Our subconscious chakra message is the inner child. This is the heart chakra. It's connecting with our inner child. It's connecting with our inner self. It's saying, I love me. And I'm listening to me. And I'm letting laughter be a part of my life. One of the beautiful exercises with the inner child is to hold our arms open and visualize the child we once were, running into the adult we are today, running into our arms, and knowing that they are intrinsically and completely safe. It brings us to the subconscious spirit animal message, which is the dragonfly spirit. It says, truth transcends illusion. So the truth that we are seeking transcends the illusion of the world. It brings us then to the subconscious person message, which is the Queen of Swords. Here, we are embracing that warrior queen mentality, cutting through doubts and fears. Again, it's air sign energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, there we go. And it's a sense of purpose and dedication and not taking anybody's bull and being completely in our element, because she's being blown back by the air, which is her element. Our subconscious tarot message is the Magician. It's time to rejoice. As above, so below. As we believe it, so it becomes. As we think it, so it is. The Magician gives us strength. We stand before the altar of our existence and we embrace the transmutation. The turning of lead into gold. The alchemist way is the way of the human spirit. We go from the ordinary lead to gold, to something priceless. And that's what we're embracing here. That determination and passion forward. That taking up of the gifts that we have, of knowledge, of prosperity, of emotions, and of passion. And saying, I see me, openly, honestly, and truthfully. All right, Sagittarius. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. Let's end this reading with the meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we become fierce warriors. Yeah. And stand in what we most greatly desire. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Sagittarius.